Hey Legion, massive episode today. We'll get there in two shakes of a lamb style, but my name is Shrek. Welcome to the Noob Spearo podcast. It's interviews with Spearo frothers from all over the planet. Today we're off to Koh Tao, Thailand. He's a freediving instructor, but also a spearfishing guide. He's worked in Qatar with the International Spearfishing Academy. He's done guiding trips in Zanzibar. He runs his own school in Koh Tao with freediving, Apex Freediving. It's Nico Bleeker. This guy comes highly recommended. My mate Evan says, this is Nico. He taught me to dive back in the day. Nico is an amazing freediving instructor in Spearo. He is a instructor trainer, spent time working in ISA in Qatar, guiding trips in Zanzibar, and now runs his own school in Koh Tao, Thailand. And that's Apex. We're going to get in there. Today we chat a bit about the differences between freediving and spearfishing and similarities, commonly overlooked freediving skills that we should use as Spearos. And we get into a whole bunch of wicked adventures, and obviously loves hunting Bohar snapper, so we get into that pretty quick. Before we get there, a couple of quickies. Felix left a review after we did our Whitsundays sail and spear trip. This is what he says. Just finished an epic Whitsundays sail and spear trip with Noob Spearo. Stoked to eat fresh caught fish all trip and take home a few kgs of fillets after a few days of successful spearing on pristine reef. Such a good crew. We had great vibes the whole time. The instructors were constantly scouting ground and getting us onto good fishing craze. Being around a bunch of great Spearos improved my spearing heaps. Stoked to get my first tropical species and keen to land more fish back on the south coast. So Felix travelled up from the south coast of New South Wales. Really, really cool guy. If you want to read any of these reviews, just type in Noob Spearo in Google and have a look at the Google Noob Spearo Google listing, and you can see a whole bunch of reviews from people that have done trips and courses. We have dates for Sail and Spear 2025. They're going to go quick. I really want to get a whole bunch of legends, just like we did this year, on next year's trip. And I know a whole bunch of them are coming back, but that's why we're going to run two trips back to back. The first one departs Tuesday, the 5th of August. Second departs Tuesday, the 12th of August. So the instructor team get a couple of down days between trips. But it's going to be super cool, and a few people might even book on back-to-back and do both trips with us, which would be awesome as well. If you are interested in the Whitsunday Sail and Spear trips, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested. And I know, like, if you're going to travel from overseas to do this trip, it's pretty cool. You can fly into Proserpine Airport in Queensland and come and join us. But yeah, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested. And chuck your name in, fill out those details, and you'll be on the shortlist to get emailed as soon as those charters are up online, so you can put in a deposit and secure your spot. Before we get there, loving the rants coming through. I have another one. It's going to go on next episode. But the purpose of the rants is to just teach our spearing community about something that you're passionate about, probably angry about. There's all sorts of things in spearing that we do sometimes that could be improved, and I love rants from experienced people. So if you want to do that, go to noobspearo.com, head up into the menu, give back, hit Noober Stories, and leave me a voice message up to 3 minutes, and give us, vent your spleen. I would love to hear it, and give us an actionable lesson. Guys, we're going to get into this episode with Nico. He is a rad dude. I hope you really enjoy it. I did want to just read out one more thing from a patron listener. If you are interested in supporting the podcast on an episode-by-episode basis, go to patreon.com/noobspearo. Carl sent in, hey Shrek, just wanted to throw you a message and say thank you for being an absolute legend. Me and the partner completed our first ever AIDA 1 and 2 course last weekend and couldn't be more stoked. We are super green, but listening to your potty has given me so much guidance on how to approach freediving and the Spearo life. Everything from gear to course and the safety aspect, meaning we rocked up to the course with the right kit and expectations and enjoyed every minute of it from the start. Although I've been in love with the water for over a decade with sailing and powerboats, I had no clue until a couple of years ago that spearfishing was even accessible. Without your sharing of knowledge, there is every chance I would have just dismissed it or jumped in and tried to figure it out, and I know how that could have quickly ended badly. Super stoked to get back in the water and practice those skills. Thanks again to smashing out A-grade content for not only noobs like me, but also for the hours of entertainment you've provided, passing the mind-numbing hours sat behind the sticks of an excavator. Total legends. Cheers for that, Carl. Love getting messages like that, guys. If the podcast has made a difference to you, like, you're welcome to leave a voice message and chuck that in, or flick me an email, shrek@noobspearo.com. But without further ado, let's get into it. It's Nico Bleeker from Apex Freediving in Koh Tao. Here we go. Shop with the world's largest dive store, Adreno. Live it and breathe it with frothers just like you, in-store or online at adreno.com.au. Huge range of equipment, always growing, always changing. They are the world's largest dive store. They are available just about everywhere. They have hassle-free returns, massive range of equipment, price match guarantee, and you can check them out online. You can even use the code Noob Spearo to save $20 on every purchase over 200 at adreno.com.au. Check them out. Boom. Absolutely mint customer service. Specialty spearfishing equipment, elite spear gun performance components, unforgettable reliability. You want to find out where to buy this? Punch in neptonics.com and shop at the best US spearfishing store, neptonics.com. Free shipping to the lower 48 when you spend over $199, and you can use the code NOOB10 to save 10%. This is your chance to save dosh. Buy deadly good gear and experience A-grade customer service. Will you shop with the best? Visit neptonics.com. Use the code NOOB10 to start shooting 35-pound muttons tomorrow. Actual performance may differ from advertisement. Please refer to terms and conditions to see if you're eligible to be a legend like Shrek. This advertisement was not even endorsed by Jerry and the team at Neptonics. Hoorah and God bless America. Arriving on day one of the spearfishing trip of a lifetime and feeling underdone, unfit, and out of breath is incredibly underwhelming. Well, I've got a great solution for you today. Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready and take part in a 50-day preparation program to get you into shape to make the most of a trip of a lifetime. This is a 50-day journey designed to get you in great shape to make the most of this trip. I consulted a bunch of legends to help me put together this program, including Adam Stern, Australian freediving legend, Jared Rosenberg from Earth and Ocean Fit, and Dr. Jaap Verbaas, author of Longer and Deeper, as well as a bunch of others to help me put together a 50-day program that will get you results. And I know it works. We've put a bunch of groups through this now, and people have seen huge improvements and landed on a charter or a trip and actually been able to tap into some of their best spearfishing fitness. Check it out at noobspearo.com/spear-ready. Jump in a 50-day program to make the most. If you are 2 months out from that trip of a lifetime, let me encourage you, get spear ready. Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready. G'day, Noob Spearo community. I'm joined today by a guy who's always intimidates me, actually. It's an accomplished freediver, but definitely a Spearo as well. And Nico, you're the person that recommended you to me. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Evan and I, we top and tailed in a bunk on a sailboat recently. So
he mentioned that you guys did go on a spearfishing trip, but you didn't really say too much about it.
It was incredibly intimate. Shout out to Evan.
I think that makes the spearfishing trips a little bit more fun.
Oh, yeah. Well,
there's all the special bonding moments.
That trip's awesome. It's like a backpacker's spearfishing trip, really. Like, it's like, you a bunch of people crammed into like a big sailboat, but it's kind of like more of a backpacker style spearfishing charter. And, you're forced to make relationships. But the people that come on it were pretty cool. And I mean, Evan is one of them. So, yeah.
And Evan's definitely a character, and he brings out a lot of laughs.
Yeah. So you taught him.
We worked together.
You taught him.
Yeah, we worked together for a little while.
Okay.
I mean, so that's how I know Evan. I think he did a 0 to hero course with us here in Thailand.
Okay.
And that's pretty much just where he started with his level 1 freediving course, worked his way up, advanced up into the level 3, and then doing the instructor course.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he was quite fun to be around with, to be honest. Very good diver too.
Yeah, he's got good technique. He's a very clean technique, and just a general nice guy. Like a great communicator, good energy.
I haven't seen him shoot a fish yet, though.
Yeah, his spearing's still like on the come ups, but he's a rad dude. But he's probably already better than I am anyway, so I can't say too much. But Nico, you come very highly regarded, and like one sort of glance across your personal Instagram, Nico.Bleeker. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, that's fine.
My Afrikaans is terrible. I got no good accent for the Afrikaans. Yeah, one good look at your Instagram, and you can sort of see like you love to hunt good fish as well, and you like to hunt similar to fish to what I like to hunt, which is Lutjanus species.
Yes.
Bohar snappers I saw were one of your favorites. I've never hunted one of them, But like you've got mangrove jacks up there. There's all sorts of different Lutjanus. Like, what's the attraction?
The challenge. They just don't make it easy for you. So you're kind of forced to. I mean, first you need to find them, and once you find them, you need to get them in a good mood also, because they love to look at you when you're on the surface. But as soon as you start swimming down to them, they're not too like that. So they love keeping a distance. You need to always like try and find a way to get a little bit closer, which is not as easy as everyone thinks.
No, a lot of them, the better fish too, seem to like deep caves. And so it makes it even more challenging.
To be honest, in Zanzibar, that's where 90% of my spearfishing recently has been. And there's not much caves, to be honest.
Okay.
The main focus is normally blue water hunting, so wahoos, tuna, king mackerels. But mainly, we're not allowed to shoot the fish that the clients are targeting. Yep. So I always need to make sure that I can dive deeper than the clients. So, and if they can't see what I'm doing, then they probably would never have shot that fish in the first place.
Yeah. So Bohar snapper, tell me about them as a species. Like, you're obviously not finding them in a cave country, which kind of surprises me because they seem to, in my experience, like with mangrove jacks anyway, like they don't seem to like a lot of current, and they do like to have bolt holes where that they can sort of bail and hide, and they seem to do a lot of their hunting from that sort of country. Are Bohar snappers different?
The mangrove jacks we find more on the reefs.
Okay.
So it's more common to find them, like you can get them on the shallower or in the deeper reefs. But for the Bohars, most of the ones I've found so far all on deeper ledges.
Okay.
And normally there's around 5 to 8 of them swimming together. And they just all live. There's pretty much, you always see the same group of red snappers or Bohars at the same place.
Okay.
So it's the same group that I've been trying to hunt. I mean, in the 3 years I was spearfishing there now, I've been able to shoot one on that spot. Actually, I've shot 2. So one on one of our local spots and one at Latham Island.
Yeah. So walk me through like all of the failures and then culminating in the successful hunt if you can. Like what did you try and what didn't work before you eventually made it work?
Honestly, I was pure luck actually getting that fish. Because the fish is on one of our main marks where we're doing drifts for wahoo. So normally we jump in about 65-ish meters of water, and then we'll drift with the current. Well, we're not going to go to surface drifting.
Yeah.
So we drift in the blue, looking for wahoo, and then generally the current takes you like slightly onto that ledge. And the ledge starts at about 35, 40 meters, and then it slowly starts coming up 30, 25, 20 until it's in the shallows. So this is also what makes Zanzibar so nice is you get to do in one drift, you can hunt blue water species and reef species on the same drift. And that's pretty much where I found these boas, and you can see them, but you can just never get close enough to them. So every time they 15, 20 meters, so they're not very deep. Then every time you dive, as soon as you dive, the whole school just kind of looks at you and they slowly start swimming down, always staying out of your range. And even if you're lying on the bottom, they just look at you, they come in a little bit, and then they just kind of like play with your emotions most of the time. But I think the day I got lucky, same spot, calm conditions, it was actually quite dirty. I would say we had about 10 meter vis is quite dirty for like 10, 12 meter vis is quite bad for Zanzibar. So we didn't have the best visibility. And I did my dive a little bit too early. And I think that's where I actually got lucky. So I dived a bit too early. It was about 25-ish meters. And then I just drifted with the current, and I actually drifted into the school. So I feel like they didn't see me coming, and I just drifted straight into them, and they presented with a shot.
So
I got quite lucky.
There's a few sayings of luck, though. It's kind of like when opportunity, skill, and fate collide. I think is something somewhere along those lines. It sounds like you were intentionally targeting them, but you kind of got lucky maybe with the viz gave you a bit of an advantage, and then
I believe
also
so, yeah.
mistiming your drift.
I mean, okay, we can say it was luck, but it is the same spot we dive almost every other day. So that's the nice thing about Zanzibar, is because I've dived the area for so long now that I know the spots really, really well. So I know exactly what to expect. And that also makes it much easier for the deeper dives and staying nice and calm. Because you don't have to think about it. You know exactly what's going to happen. If I see this rock, I know exactly where I am. And that takes a lot of the guesswork out of the whole hunting experience too.
So when you lucked on the school and you sort of, I guess you crept up on them, you allowed sort of the current to move you into the school by the sounds of it. Did you have a chance to choose the fish that you wanted, or did you just take
I was aiming for I think you called them Mari sea perch before.
Yeah, MSP. Yep.
Like I was aiming for a big sea perch, and I saw the big bohar snapper actually right behind it. So I decided like I'm going to take the chance. So I just gave like 2 kicks to get a little bit closer to it, and I just took the shot.
Oh, beautiful! That's a good fish too, man. How heavy was that? Just to estimate.
That fish was 11.3 kilos.
Oh man, that would have been
satisfying. The current world
satisfying.
record that I was looking at was 9.2.
Oh, so you got it?
So
did you put in for it?
I was going to.
Yeah.
2 weeks before that, another guy called, I think, Chris Dillon.
Yeah.
I think he does the
spear junkies.
What do you call those trips? Spear junkies, yes. He shot one in French Polynesia of 12. I think it was 12.2.
Ah, spewing.
So 2 weeks before I could claim that one, he's got it.
All right, South Africans.
I mean, I was still very happy because I was looking for that fish for quite a while, and I was really happy I got it. Slightly disappointed I couldn't
claim the record,
but I'll just have to keep trying.
Man, what a special fish! So, what did you start to lodge it, and then you found out that Chris Dillon had shot a bigger one, or what happened?
No, when we got back to the shop, I just double checked to make sure what the numbers were, and then up. I got slightly disappointed, but all part of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Have you got any other world records?
No.
Okay.
Not.
Is it a mission of yours? Has it ever been a mission of yours, like a deliberate, intentional?
It would be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've shot enough fish where I don't have to shoot everything that swims past me anymore.
Yeah.
So I do try to focus a little bit more. It's like if I see something that could potentially be size, I would try and put some effort in hunting that fish. Mm-hmm. But mainly I was guiding 99% of the time. So that wasn't really my focus. I mean, it would make me much as happy if I can put a client onto a world record fish than getting one myself.
So, like, we've touched on a bunch of your history here, particularly around guiding and Zanzibar and stuff. What I want to do right now, though, Nico, is I want you to sort of describe for the listeners what it is that you do right now, where you live, what your sort of day-to-day is, and then if we can, we might rewind it all and then go right back to the start and then explore some sidelines on the way, if that's okay.
Sure. So currently I live on an island called Koh Tao in Thailand. It is one of the main diving islands in the country. I think at the moment there's like 70-something dive centers on the island.
Wow.
Mainly scuba diving. Free diving, there's about 6 or 7 schools. So recently, start of this year, I opened my own freediving school. Yep. So I'm just focusing on freediving at the moment, from beginner up to instructor levels.
Nice.
Unfortunately, spearfishing is not allowed on the island.
Okay.
So I still need to do a couple of trips in every year just to get my fix.
I bet you do. Why? Is there a reason for this stuff? I mean, have you got your head around the Thai fishing laws? Is it just the scuba diving?
It depends on who you ask. Everyone's got different opinions. But basically, Koh Tao is a national park, or they claim it to be a national park.
Okay.
And that just means we're not allowed to fish. I mean, they are trying to preserve the fisheries around here, which I'm 100% for. Because it's a diving island. So
yeah,
if you're going to allow every second guy to show up with a spear gun and try to shoot something for dinner or for photo, they're going to destroy the inside reef, and the snorkelers are not going to see anything. So, I mean, I would love to be able to shoot fish every day, but I'm not against it.
Okay.
So I'm quite happy that you can't do it here. But I can go 40 miles off to another island or just over to the mainland, and there are some reefs that you can actually shoot some pretty nice fish.
Okay. So, like, you know, some people talk about the maturity curve as a Spearo, and basically, like, when you get so far along, you know, you're no longer really fussed with having to shoot everything, as you kind of identified earlier. Like, you're really just looking for special fish and special opportunities. Is this the sort of timing for you for like moving and opening a freediving school in Koh Tao? Has that kind of coincided with this part of your maturity curve as a Spearo?
Slightly. I've been teaching freediving full time since 2012. So I used to live in Thailand before, and through the school I used to work for here, the owners had another dive center, and they collaborated with Eric Allard in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And they actually asked me to, since I was one of the very few Spearos teaching freediving, they actually asked me to go there because they thought I would be a good fit.
Okay.
That's where I got a little bit more into the spearfishing. And I mean, spearfishing is fun, but doing it 5-6 days a week, it can get hard work over time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I felt like it's time for a little bit of a break, because you get a little bit overconfident sometimes. And I feel like if I was going to keep diving the way I was diving, I was probably going to do something stupid.
Yeah. Talk to me about that then. Like, where did this level of awareness come from? So you're diving 5 or 6 days a week. You're in incredibly clear water, surrounded with customers wanting to shoot amazing fish every day, and I'm betting that your dive fitness after a few weeks of this sort of stuff starts to get pretty bloody good.
Oh, for sure.
And then is that where the sort of is it lapses in judgment, or is it overconfidence? Like, what does it look like?
I wouldn't say lapses in judgment, but overconfidence. Like, at the end of the season, there's no issue for me going down and sitting at the reef on 30 meters. And the thing is, if anything happens to me, I mean, no one's looking after me. I'm supposed to be looking after clients.
Yeah.
So I just felt like there's too many opportunities to do something silly.
Yeah.
Apart just from the freediving injury stuff, like also sharks and things, like I'm not a big fan of them.
Okay.
And once a couple of them starts chasing and trying to bite you, then it's not really that fun anymore.
Yeah, it's some bad experiences.
On my last charter, we had 2 bullsharks chase my clients down and try to bite them, which was quite stressful.
Yeah. What happened?
It's not very normal. The one day we were hunting for doggies, and normal procedure, I would do the first dive. I dive down to like 20, 25-ish, try and shoot a rainbow, bring the rainbow up so we can bring the doggies up with it. But this time, instead of a doggy, a bull shark came up with it. And so as I went up to the surface, my client dived down, and he hung around 20 meters for a little bit. And just before he started swimming up to the surface, there's actually a video somewhere on Instagram where, as he started swimming up, you can see the shark just came straight from the bottom.
Oh.
And it's normally when you see that upside down smile, you know he's aiming straight for you.
Yeah.
Luckily, the bull shark swam straight into the tip of his gun, actually the shark impaled himself.
Wow.
And I guess that was a big enough reason for the shark to turn around and swim away.
I've seen that behavior before, like not personally, like in my own spearfishing, but I've seen it, on videos where it's like this trigger gets pulled, the switch goes off in the shark's brain, and they do exactly what you say. They go exactly for someone, and there's no doubting what they're doing at that moment. Like, after this thing happened, I mean, what do you think has triggered this? Are there any events that have sort of culminated in this? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, as far as I know, it's the time of the year. So I'm not sure what that means for them, but normally a certain time of the year, the sharks do get a little bit more aggressive. Normally, we don't have issues with sharks. It's quite rare for the shark to actually bother us or to take our fish, but it is normally just towards the end of the year when they just start getting a little bit more edgy, and then they will start rushing you more than normal, or like the last two sharks tried to bite you.
Crazy.
So I think, as far as I know, it's just the end of the year. And I know some people they did a shark research trip not long after that, and they didn't find any sharks. So I'm not sure what they were doing, but
maybe mating season or something weird that we don't understand.
Potential. You do see a lot more sharks during that time. But I'm going back to Zanzibar next month, so I'll just double check on those facts.
So just pulling on that thread a little bit, like with the timing with going to Koh Tao and opening this freediving school. So like it sounds like, you were exposed to, very healthy levels of risk at times, personally and then also professionally. And that sort of has worn on you a little bit, and then so maybe it's helped contribute to this idea of a bit more of a relaxed lifestyle. Is that?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit lazy. But Thailand was the first country I traveled to, and I feel like specifically this island has just it caught me. And I keep coming back here every year. Whenever I have a chance, I would always come back to the island. I do have a lot of good friends here, and I feel like this is like a really good spot to slow down a little bit. And I don't want to say retire, but actually like live somewhere for a little bit more long term.
Yeah, righto.
Because I've had the opportunity to move around quite a bit and see and do a few different things. But this is always where I want to come back to.
Are there a lot of like laptop entrepreneurial, like nomadic type people sort of in and around Koh Tao?
Recently, yes.
Okay.
Thailand actually just released, what do they call it? A destination Thailand visa. So it's basically valid for 5 years.
Wow.
And you can use 180 days at a time.
Okay.
So this is specifically for the digital nomads that can come and stay long term, do their work, and still just like travel and relax.
Yeah, cool. I while I was going through doing a little bit of research, I was looking at your profile and I came across this post where you've got, I think, 2 clients in front of you and you're teaching them breathing. You guys have got your shirts awkwardly up halfway around your midriff, like a lot of freediving schools seem to like to do. And you wrote, back in the day when I was still pretending that I knew what I was doing. And I wanted to ask you, like, I think, every person is their own worst critic. What made you say that in that post, if you can remember? And then what are some of the biggest things that you've learned and teach differently now?
Sarcasm is one of my main ways of teaching and doing things.
Okay. I can relate to that.
No, I wouldn't compare myself to any professional. I don't think I'm anywhere near to what an actual professional does. So teaching, I absolutely love teaching. But yeah, professional, I'm very far from that. So, I mean, when I was teaching back then, I was a little bit more into stretching and preparing for dives. Okay. Compared to now where I'm more just into get your suit on, get in the water and dive.
Okay.
I think I was a little bit more flexible back then. I think that's photo specifically was what do you call it? Like an empty lung diaphragm stretching.
RSV, residual volume type thing where you
something like that. Yes.
Yeah. They're hard. They're quite painful too, and they're not for the faint-hearted. And you do have to learn from.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to learn from someone that knows what they're doing too, because you can hurt yourself.
I don't know what I popped something in my ribcage once. Like I did a stretch and I heard it and I felt something pop in in between my ribs.
Yeah.
And that was really painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, even I mean, stretching is supposed to be good for you, but if you do it wrong, you can actually hurt yourself.
Mm. So you've moved away from doing a lot of intense sort of like, because like there's that old chestnut, like, you know, and freedivers are good at teaching this. They say, you know, like, you know, we don't have a problem with lung volume. Our lung volume will go to whatever our chest cavity will allow. And it's kind of this kind of misconception, like, oh, you've got, you know, you've only got a 7-liter lung volume or whatever. It's like, well, you could probably get more if you stretched and you develop more flexibility in your, you know, in your chest cavity. But and Spearos are like some of the least flexible people I know most of the time. Like our sort of the amount of attention we pay to this stuff is like infinitesimal. But you went down the rabbit hole with it. What did you come away with it? You've gone back to sort of a more relaxed approach to it all.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard about this saying before. It's not the size, but it's how you use it.
Well, and it's a line that I use a lot.
You can have the biggest lung volume ever, but if you don't know how to use the air efficiently, it's still not gonna. It's not. You're not gonna be the deepest diver or have the longest breath hold. So my focus has switched more from, I mean, the whole Zen, where the 7 moons and stuff needs to be aligned before you can do your personal best dive, to let's just get into the water, we get the basics right, and we focus on that. And you build up on the basics. So starting from just actually being nice and calm, having a nice calm breathe up before you start your dive, proper duck dive, body positioning, the equalization, all these things. If you can't do the basics, you're not gonna, I mean, you might be able to force a nice deep dive out of it, but it's not going to be comfortable and it's not really going to mean much.
Yeah. And it's also not going to make you want to do the next big dive either.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a hard dive where you didn't enjoy it, exactly, you're not going to want to do that again. So I normally try to get my students to get like wrap that whole idea around the head. It's not, you don't want to push yourself and do the deepest dive you can. When you train, you want to put yourself in a position where you are doing solid dives, but also you want to do them comfortably. And if you're comfortable and you're enjoying it, naturally you will improve. I mean, it's not going to be, you might not improve over a weekend or two, but the more time you spend doing it, naturally your body will improve. And I do believe that your body will not allow you to do what it doesn't want you to do. So if you have to force equalization or you have to force the depth, there's a reason for it. I mean, that just means your body's not ready to do that yet.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, cool. Killshot spear guns have much more than just wicked, reliable, awesome timber spear guns. They've got merch, charters, more, and they service gear out in Isla Morada in the Florida Keys. Ed Martin is the passionate aficionado making some absolute works of art, simple, reliable timber spear guns that more than get the job done. I know when I shoot my spear gun, I'm looking for reliability. Ed Martin's got you covered at killshotspearguns.com. Check it out, killshotspearguns.com. This podcast is brought to you by aqualite.com.au. This is the best solution, bar none, for staying hydrated in the ocean. If you're a Spearo, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a game changer. If you're doing extended trips and the cramp starts to set in and the old body's telling you, hey, that's enough, just get hydrated and it will save you a whole heap of woe. Get Aqualite at aqualite.com.au. It's scientific rehydration that Spearos know and trust. I know because one works there, and that's why we've set up this discount code for you, 10% off when you use the code Noob Spearo at aqualite.com.au. Check it out. Australian-made hydration products tailored for Spearos and a whole bunch of other people that suffer from dehydration too. But check it out at aqualite.com.au. Use the code Noob Spearo to save 10%. Spear Ready is a 50-day training program designed to get you in shape to make the most of your spearfishing. It's a 50-day cross-training program designed to put you in shape and not feel like you don't have any breath hold when you arrive on your trip. If you can go spearfishing during the week during this program, you can even subtract something from the workout. I can guarantee that no other prep program is saying that. Check it out at noobspearo.com/spearready. There are always frothers training and trying to prepare and get in shape. It's a great way to stay motivated and do it together with our private Facebook group. Check it out again, noobspearo.com/spearready. There's a question I want to ask, and then I want to return to sort of what you teach as your sort of dive process, what your personal process is for becoming relaxed. But you touched on, like, when you're pushing something, whether it's, EQ or depth, you're saying it's a trigger for you're not quite ready for it. If you are, like, let's just say you're a 15-meter Spearo, but you really want to start hunting fish in, let's just say 18 or 19 meters, and it's a clear, calm day, and you're with guys that are capable of rescuing you from that depth, and they're actually a little bit better than you, but you're feeling uncomfortable at that depth just because you're not used to, like, not having so much compression in your chest, so you're getting a little bit of, like, discomfort at depth. What would be your advice, or how would you coach someone through that sort of session?
Ideally, you would like to be very comfortable at 15 before you're going to start hunting, say at 20 or 25 meters. Firstly, I mean, you should never dive alone. That's like the basic rule. But also, I don't think you should put all your faith in your dive buddies that they are going to rescue you.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of your podcasts. They were also talking about, in the event of an emergency or a blackout, that person is not going to be able to perform their best. So just because they are able to hunt at 20 meters comfortably, it doesn't mean they will be able to come down and help you if something goes wrong. So normally the way I would like to train is being able to do the skills or the depths comfortably, where on normal circumstances, I wouldn't need anyone's help. So I don't want to rely on someone and say, it's going to be okay, they're going to help me.
Yeah, okay.
Because in reality, they're not always paying attention.
Yeah, that's fair, cool.
So it just comes down to slow progress. Listen to what your body's saying. Like, if you're, like, nervous about doing a deeper depth, I mean, maybe try to do it purely just on a free dive first. Get comfortable and maybe a little bit more confident with that depth, or maybe a little bit deeper if you can diving on a line, and then slowly move deeper using a gun too, because it's two completely different focuses. On a free diving, it's all about the mind and equalization and the body and what you are feeling. But in spearfishing, as soon as you see a fish, all that goes out of the window.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I agree.
I've seen the best divers do the absolute worst techniques just to get down to a fish. So you need to train in a way. Your free diving, you need to train in a way where you don't need to think about doing something.
Yeah.
A small thing, body positioning, is a very small thing, especially when it comes to deeper diving. The majority of the people don't know how to swim straight. I mean, it's a very basic thing to swim straight and conserve energy and conserve the oxygen. But most people, they go down on angles and then they realize they're lost, and then they start looking around, swimming this way, swimming that way. And it's not efficient.
100% agree. And a lot of us are guilty. Sometimes when you're facing, like, current and whatever you're trying to do, you're trying to get to the bottom, but you're not used to swimming in a way that will get you to the bottom in the most efficient way possible. You sort of, and it's quite easy to get thrown off with current. It kind of confuses the way your body position when you're going down. And you're trying to keep your head in a neutral position so that you can equalize and be streamlined. But then we're spearfishing too, so we're looking up. We're trying to see where we're going to land, whether there's any bait, whether there's a potential fish that you want to, sort of work out a plan of what your approach is going to be. So it's a very different thing. And then all the other technique stuff is kind of background noise a lot of the time.
But this is also where research comes into play. knowing exactly what you're looking for and what the terrain looks like and what to expect. And I think that's probably what makes Zanzibar much easier for me to hunt, because I know exactly what to expect. So even though I'm drifting with the current, if I start hearing the reef, or if I see, like you mentioned, that rock, I know exactly where I am. So I know which way to turn my body to, which way to face, and what I can expect to see. So a little bit of research and, I mean, just a lot of diving in the areas would make it much better. So maybe if it's a new reef, don't push yourself to go all the way to the bottom and see what's going on.
We're going to return to your dive process because I really want to know what it is. Like, you obviously, do you coach people to follow the way you consciously relax? Do you teach people your dive process, or do you teach them a dive process that's more easily?
I mean, I've adopted the process what I teach.
Okay.
So the way what I teach is very similar to what is done in our freediving courses. Basically, 2-minute breather. Just relaxing, not moving around, not trying to talk to everyone the whole time. Make sure your snorkel is in the right position so you don't have to clear your snorkel the whole time. It's all these little things that's going to make that difference.
Yep.
But yeah, the relaxation is purely just confidence in what I'm doing. If I'm going to be on a completely new reef, I'll be a little bit nervous because I wouldn't really know what to expect, and you call it the demons in your head is going to start playing tricks on you because you don't know what's going to happen. But once you get to the bottom, you see, you can look around and see what's going on. Your second dive is going to be tons better.
So tidal breathing, laying there, minimizing movement, like you say, having your snorkel position correctly, and then do you do a body scan, or do you use any more sort of these sort of tangible relaxation techniques? Or
I mean, subconsciously, I guess I do body scans. I normally pinch my fingers together just to make sure they don't tingling. So I haven't been hyperventilating or anything, or I can at least feel them.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good sign that everything's good to go.
Okay. Yeah, nice. That's like a systems check thing for you.
Yeah, I did. This happened to me once. We were Zanzibar again. We were drifting for Wahoo, and it was quite a windy day with a lot of chop and water blowing into my snorkel the whole time. And I needed to clear my snorkel the whole time so I can, just breathe and force myself to relax.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize by clearing my snorkel the whole time, I was actually hyperventilating like crazy.
Yeah.
And at some point, I realized I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. And yeah, that's when I noticed that I actually need to concentrate on what I'm doing instead of just blowing air out of my snorkel the whole time.
Yeah.
And this is why now, if I'm doing a longer drift, I will always check my fingers and see if everything is normally fine.
So sort of, I'm imagining it's like thumb to little fingertip, thumb to like ring fingertip. Is that sort of what you're doing? And
yes.
Then you're just moving from finger to finger.
Oh.
And that's giving you like, a little like systems check. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And that's sort of to detect hypercapnia. So you know whether you're in a sort of whether you've flushed all the CO2 from your body.
Yeah. Because normally one of the signs of or symptoms of a hyperventilation is like tingling in your lips, tingling in your fingers and things.
Yeah, right.
And if you do it properly, you can get this little metal taste.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Then, if you taste metal, you should definitely not start your dive.
So if someone's accidentally hyperventilated, like what you're sort of saying, and there is that, that sort of that variable of, chop and sort of the topside conditions of filling your snorkel all the time, how do you return to a more natural state of breathing when you are having your snorkel filled all the time? Is there a way around it that you've worked out? I
changed my snorkel.
Yeah. So you use like a purge valve or one with like a bit of a protecting?
So I was using I'm just going to call it the standard J-shaped snorkels.
Yeah.
But I also, your head position also plays a pretty big role. If you keep your chin down, looking down into the water all the time, your snorkel tends to be much closer to the water surface. But if you lift your head up a little bit, it'll bring the snorkel out of the water a little bit more to make the breathing process a bit easier. But I switched to the Rife stable snorkel.
Yeah, yep.
And that makes me so happy.
Yeah?
I would never use another snorkel in my life.
Oh, wow. Game changer.
It's just the way it's designed to position on your head is a little bit different, because most snorkels go onto the side, like the left or the right side of your head.
Yes.
And the Rife clips onto the back of your mask.
Okay.
So it actually, just that angle it lies, it's like fits. It's just a really comfortable fit, and I feel like at that angle it sticks out of the water a little bit more.
Okay.
And it's got this small little splash guard, so a lot less water comes into the mask, and with it having that little purge valve, makes it much easier to, if there is any water in it, to get rid of it.
Yeah, I used to use a snorkel like that, and then it wasn't the Rife one, but it was another one. But what I found was when I started diving a little bit deeper, it wobbled and it sort of smacked into my head as I descended, and it really annoyed the shit out of me. It had like this flexy part between, there was the nice elbow that sort of sat under your mouth and then out to the side of your chin. And then there was this flexy part before it went to a more rigid part that stuck out of the water. And when I traveled down in the water, when I was just diving straight down, it would sort of flop around and just smack into the side of my head. And it just used to give me the shits. Plus it made noise as well.
I mean, it happens sometimes. But I'd rather be slightly annoyed with my snorkel than struggling to breathe on the surface.
Yes. Yeah.
So you kind of need to pick your battles.
That's why we're having the conversation. It's like these are very small problems that every Spearo understands, though. So
yeah, no, I think if you've dived long enough, you find that piece of equipment that you just wouldn't change for anything else. And that snorkel is one of them.
Yeah. So I might be beating something to death here with a stick, but you jump in the water at Zanzibar. You're guiding a client. It's their first day in the water. They have arrived on the trip a bit underdone, and as I understand, yeah, of course. And a lot of the guys that are coming out there, they live busy lives, so I'm sure that is one of the things. So they arrive. They're in the water. They're flat out diving 10 meters on their first day. We're just doing wahoo hunting. What's your process as a guide to help them just to be able to chill out and just to let their body kind of do what it knows how to do over a period of time?
Well, it starts with your briefings. I mean, firstly, getting to know the customer, trying to find out exactly what their experience is, how long they've been diving, if they've been diving before, when's the last time they actually dived, what their deepest dives are, which they always lie. So whenever someone says they can hunt at 20 meters, you're a 5-meter diver.
Just a bloke thing, eh?
It seems to be standard, yes. Doesn't matter which country you come from.
Nice.
It's the quiet guys that they show you what they can do instead of talking about it.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone talks too much, they're talking shit.
Yeah. The podcast host, you're like, this guy's pathetic for sure.
But yeah, so it's basically to actually get to know the person.
Yeah.
Seeing what they want to get out of it, what they want to hunt. But normally the main target is wahoo, because they're the easiest ones they're quite easy to shoot in Zanzibar. They generally come in like the 10 to 12 meter range. So even if you can only get to 6-7 meters, you're still in range to hit one.
That's awesome.
I mean, sometimes they just swim right underneath the surface. You don't even have to dive. Yeah. So get to know the person, and then generally I don't tell people too much on exactly I don't go into too much detail and telling them exactly what to do. I like to see how they do things first, and then I will help them adjust where it's needed.
Yeah, nice.
Because I think if they're going to get too much information, they're going to end up overthinking, which is also not what I want. And when they overthink, they get nervous. Some people get stressed about it, and then it just makes everything worse.
One thing with
Um,
spearing too is it's like a whole body immersive activity. Like some guys are critics of like learning from books or podcasts or YouTube because they like you've just got to do it, you know. And there is a certain, you know, reality to that. Like you can't just listen to a podcast or listen to a book or read a book or watch a YouTube channel and then jump in the water and, you know, you're friggin', you know, Nico Bleeker. You know, you've got to sort of like dive and then learn and apply information sort of as you go. Is that what you think?
it depends on your personality. I mean, some people just have the ability to pick up a gun and actually be good at it.
Mm.
But it comes down to body awareness, like knowing exactly what you. But you don't have to know exactly what you're doing, but at least be aware of what you are doing in the water. It helps.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
at least the first rule is don't point the gun at me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is one thing that really irritates me when spearos hold onto the mid barrel of the gun. So the gun's always pointing forward, and when they turn to start talking at you, they just keep pointing the gun at you, which it makes me quite nervous.
Yes.
So at least if I'm going to teach them one thing, don't point your gun at me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Point them down and just at least let it hang there.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing because I've had luckily, okay, this was in like the spearfishing courses. I spent some time in Qatar
Mm.
teaching the ISA, or the International Spearfishing Academy courses. And some of the students were a little bit trigger happy with their guns. So I've seen a few shafts fly past me, but luckily we
Oh.
had some very special shafts made by Rob Allen that had a nice rounded plastic like cork basically on the tip. So even if they do shoot you, it's going to hurt, but they're not going to kill you,
Yeah. Right.
which is a very nice way to learn how to manage guns.
That's a clever idea. I like that. I've thought about doing some similar things. Like one of the things with like when you're teaching people spear gun safety on land is you kind of never load it. But I feel like if you had a shaft welded into the mech so that, you know, like you can put the bands on and that way,
Hmm.
do you know what I mean? You can fully load the spear gun. And even if you pull the
I
trigger, it's welded in there.
I
So
have seen someone do that before.
yeah, yeah. I want to do
So
it.
it's not a bad idea. Just at least so they can get that technique of how to load the gun correctly helps a
Yeah.
lot.
If you can load, if you're brand new and you can load a spear gun on dry land, as soon as you understand how water aids in the process of reloading, it's such an easy thing in the water. But there is a lot of value in learning how to do it out of the water first, just to get your head around how everything works. You know, like shooting line paths on every different muzzle arrangement are always different. So you do need, even if you're experienced and you pick up a new spear gun for the first time, you still need to know, you know, where the line guide is, you know, all these little things that we kind of know how to pay attention to. And when you've loaded 10 spear guns, there's not a lot of different varieties. Some people have really wacky shooting line pathways, but you know, they're mostly fairly similar. But for a
Yeah,
person
that's
that's
true.
brand new, there's quite a lot to kind of get your head around the mechanics of it all and how what arm does what and what holds where.
And then also the recoil of when they pull the trigger.
Mm,
A lot of people are surprised by how strong some of these guns are. We were using standard like Rob Allen 140s.
yep.
And the recoil on that gun, if you have never shot a spear gun or shot a bigger gun, is
Mm,
quite a surprise.
yeah.
So normally, if it's completely new people, we would give them like a little introduction to spearfishing. So I show them how to duck dive with the gun, unloaded gun first. So get used to having the gun in your hands, making a nice good duck dive, keeping the gun pointed down,
Mm,
and just how to manage the gun safely.
mm.
Once they've done that, I'll show them how to load it, and then they get to dive with a loaded gun.
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, you've got to have some sort of process for it, eh? Because it forces you as the teacher to make sure that you're covering all the bases as well.
Yeah, I just want to make sure they don't shoot me or each other, because when a fish
Oh,
comes in between two clients, they get a little bit excited sometimes, and it's just shafts flying.
mate, I've seen some horror videos lately. Like, I think Spear Channel posted one like about a week ago, and it was like some wahoo swam between two guys, and the dude's like probably 15 meters behind the guy, and the range of the spear gun's probably like 7 or 8 meters. But I still wouldn't do it. If a guy is behind the fish where you're shooting, if you don't even know what's behind it, you don't shoot. Like, but it's some people just like they get so fixated.
In theory, that's
on
a good
fish.
idea.
Yeah. Okay.
In reality, it's not going to work.
Wait, why?
Even in theory, you're saying like if you can't see what's behind the fish, you shouldn't shoot, or if there's someone behind it.
Yeah.
That's what you would like other divers to think, but the excitement just overtakes everything. I've seen people do a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, I've done some. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I think what you're talking about too, part of it is like situational awareness, you know? Like you watch a person,
100%.
you know, like on a football field, like some players just automatically seem to have an awareness of, you know, who's close to them, you know, their own teammates and also the opposition. And then they already kind of can factor in what their opportunities are or their, you know, highest likelihood around them. Spearfishing kind of has that as well. If you have this sort of level of awareness of your relative position in the water to the boat and the other people around you, and then the fish and the direction of travel, like if you have a bit of a sense of direction and that sort of personal space awareness around you, like that spatial intelligence, that seems to help with some of these situations. But not everyone has it. I hear what you're saying.
Very few people actually have that.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to line management.
Yeah. Well, that's another big one. Yeah.
I end up shouting and screaming at a lot of people, trying to get them not to take the shot until at least I can get the line out of the way. Or when they're pulling in when they've shot a fish and they're pulling in the line, they just start bunching all the line up around them.
Yeah.
And if that wahoo decides to go for a second run, good luck.
Yeah. Oh man, those big fish, they got so much
But
power.
These are the little things that makes guiding a little bit stressful, especially with the type of clients we get for our day trips. Yep. The day trips is mostly for, I mean, we get our experienced divers, but Zanzibar is pretty accessible and it's easy to get to, and you don't have to travel very far to go shoot some big game fish. So the type of people we get normally have little to no experience, especially when it comes to shooting bigger fish.
So the course that you had a hand in teaching over there, that spearfishing course in Qatar, Dr. Jamal Al-Khanji, I've got to get this guy on at some stage too, by the way. Does he speak good English?
I know his English is perfect.
Please make an introduction. I've got to get this guy on. But like, that's the sort of course that he runs. Is that a really good jumping off point before you come and do a charter? Like,
that course is perfect for people who does not have experience in spearfishing.
Yeah.
Like especially in the Qataris, they are very big into the culture and the heritage and the old days. And the old days, they were all fishermen. So they all really love the sea. They love fishing and hunting.
Yeah.
So that's what made the course so popular there. But a lot of them have got zero diving experience. So the course we did was run over, I think it was 3 days. And it would be like a normal freediving or scuba diving or course that you do. So when you sign up, we give you a book. The book's in English and in Arabic. So it's a little bit for everyone. You can do your homework. We have theory lessons. Yeah, so apart with the theory lessons, I started adding the freediving breathing lessons to the courses to help people like try to relax and focus a little bit when we do the diving. We showed them basic maintenance of your equipment and guns, how to change the rubbers, how to change your shooting line, how to load the gun. And we actually did some breathing exercises, like breath holds in the classroom before we go into the swimming pool.
Yeah.
So when we get to the swimming pool, we do everything from scratch.
Yeah.
You would assume people know how to breathe through a snorkel.
Yeah.
Not everyone does.
No. We make massive assumptions.
These little details makes a difference in someone's experience who's never breathed through a snorkel. Yeah. So we get everyone kitted up, put them in the water. We just breathe through the snorkels for a little bit. swim a couple of laps on the surface, getting used to the long bladed fins that they're using for the first time, probably, and also breathing through the snorkel. So a couple of laps on the surface, and then we try a couple of laps underwater, see how everyone does, and then we just slowly build onto that. But like starting with the duck dives. Once the duck dive's good, add the gun. And we actually had like we used a like Olympic size deep diving pool. So it's about, I would say like 20 by 25 meters.
Yeah,
and
nice.
It's 5 meters deep all around.
Oh, wow.
And
perfect.
we always had, this was the great part. We always had a pool to ourselves.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we would set up a hunting area. So depending on the course and the level of the students will depend on how far you're going to swim. So let's say we set it at about 15 meters. So you'll have to dive straight down to 5 meters, and then you level out, swim towards the hunting area where we have like a little weight.
Yep.
Then you can hold onto the weight, and then you use your gun, point, aim, and we had fish targets that they would shoot.
Very cool.
And some of them would try to cheat. So as soon as they shoot the fish, they want to swim straight up to the surface, and then I'll be there to stop them and say, no, back to where you came from.
So you would make you would make them retrieve the fish on the same dive.
The fish is attached to weights, but at least they should take the spear out of the fish, and then they need to swim back to the starting point.
Oh, yeah.
We even had some drills where there's like an entanglement drills where we make them hold onto the weight for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And then I would tell him which hand to use to grab the knife to cut himself free.
Oh, wow.
And obviously I'm not going to make it as easy as I can. So I let them choose where they want to put their knife. And then it's basically, you can call it a real world situation where I tell him, okay, I put a line around your hand, and now you need to use your free hand to grab the knife and try to cut the line.
Yeah.
And they very quickly realize that they can't access the knife, which is a pretty big thing, because if you get entangled, you don't want to think.
Yes.
You just need to have muscle memory, grab a knife, cut, and go.
Spear Ready is a 50-day training program designed to get you in shape to make the most of your spearfishing. It's a 50-day cross-training program designed to put you in shape and not feel like you don't have any breath hold when you arrive on your trip. If you can go spearfishing during the week during this program, you can even subtract something from the workout. I can guarantee that no other prep program is saying that. Check it out at noobspearo.com/spearready. There are always frothers training and trying to prepare and get in shape. It's a great way to stay motivated and do it together with our private Facebook group. Check it out again, noobspearo.com/spearready.
As soon as I say anything about freediving safety, I can hear the eye rolls from across the podcast. In fact, you're probably thinking, but Tad, I've never had a problem. I don't push myself. I'm in tune with my body. I know my limits. What is 100% true about that statement is you can always say that statement unless you died from a blackout. You've probably heard of someone in your local waters that died from a blackout, and they used to be able to say the same thing, and then they blacked out and they died, and they can no longer say that. That's the way that argument works. My name is Ted Hardy. I'm the founder of Immersion Freediving, and my goal is to do more to stop fatalities from shallow water blackout than any other person on the planet. I never liked the idea that the information on how to not kill yourself while spearfishing was gated behind the paywall of a freediving course. What if there's no instructor within 200 miles? What if you can't afford a course? What if you can't get time off work? So sad, too bad, you just don't get access to the information needed to dive safely? That's why I created freedivingsafety.com. It's a free course that will teach you how to reduce your risk of having a blackout and teach you how to save your buddy's life if they had a blackout. Dive safe out there. It's not even that hard, especially when you can learn for free at freedivingsafety.com.
Yeehaw! Welcome to Depth Charge Charters. It's not just functional and simple spear guns that you can rely on from Killshot. It's Depth Charge Charters as well, part of the Killshot family. These guys go out of their way to ensure you have a great time on the water. They focus in and around freedive spearfishing, but you can go lobster fishing, line diving on a freediving. You can do freediving classes and lessons, even up your spearing game with legendary instructors. Check it out at KillshotSpearguns.com, based out of Isla Morada in the Florida Keys. I've been wondering when we're going to see a weight belt come out with an integrated knife on it that lays possibly horizontally next to the buckle so that you've got that triangle of access from both hands or something. I don't know, something like that. Like I see some guys wearing them on weight vests and that. What's your preference for dive knife location? Do you like having two knives?
I used to have two. I would have one on my back so I can reach it with my right hand, but I can comfortably reach it with my left hand too. So one on my back, and I would have one on the inside of my calf.
But you've changed? What do you do now?
Yeah. Just on the belt on the back.
Mm.
So it's basically I normally dive with a belt reel. So my customers would have breakaway setups, and I would just have a reel gun with a belt reel, so I can freely move in between.
Yeah.
So my knife is just behind the belt reel.
Yep.
So I know exactly where it is when I do need it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, it's funny everyone's preferences for dive knives. Like you say, like I think it's good to do those drills so that you can reach it with your non-dominant hand as well. It's a good
to
one.
be honest, the one time I actually needed my knife, I couldn't reach it.
Why?
I made a very wonderful decision of shooting a doggy with a reel gun.
Yep.
I was actually I was diving with Dr. Jamal Khanji, and we were diving one of our new. It's an old new spot, like we haven't dived for many years. It's an island just north of Zanzibar called Pemba.
Okay.
That's exactly the spot where the Neptonics guys. I'm pretty sure you've seen the photos of those big doggies.
Yeah.
Exactly the same spot.
Wow. Where is this? Which country? Sorry.
In Zanzibar.
Oh, it's in Zanzibar.
It's an island 30 miles north of Zanzibar.
Okay. So not Latham. It's a
Pemba. No, that's not Latham.
Okay.
There's not that much fish. So generally, we don't go there that often.
Yeah.
Because the main focus there is just doggies. And the first time I dived was with Dr. Jamal. And he did a dive, and I think he came up with the biggest eyes I've ever seen. And he's just, Nico, just dive down. Tell me if those are doggies. So I did a dive. I was like 20, 25-ish. And it was an absolute wall of doggies and a dogtooth tuna. And I didn't even know you get that many doggies in the sea.
Wow.
They were just absolutely everywhere. So I thought I was going to do the polite thing, and I'm going to shoot one of the smaller ones because generally you can attract the bigger doggies with the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So I picked the smallest one out of this that was close to me, aimed, pulled the trigger, and I just saw that shaft fly and fly and fly, and eventually it hit the fish much further back than where I aimed, meaning the fish was a lot further away than I expected.
Yeah.
Just because there was so much fish around, I guess I couldn't judge the size. And what I thought was like around a 12-kilo fish ended up being like a 30-something.
Wow.
Yeah, so that didn't go very well on a reel gun. Stripped the line of my gun quite quickly. And then it took about 5 meters off my belt reel, and somehow the line jammed up. And I think I was at 15, and then it just started dragging me down so fast. So I figured, well, it's time to let go of the belt.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't. Well, I couldn't reach my knife quick enough, but the knife wasn't really. I didn't feel like it was a priority. I just felt like, no, this is not the best situation to be. And so I was just going to drop the belt. And which is also not as easy as you expect it to be.
With tension on it.
The tension was on the side. So basically pulling the weight belt tighter on the buckle.
Whoa.
So I couldn't it's just not a simple take the belt, pull it. I actually had to stretch the belt out and force it off.
Wow.
And
which is not easy when you're in 15 meters getting dragged down rapidly.
Breath hold wise, I was still doing fine. So I was still able to think clearly, I think. And as soon as I released it, everything just calmed down. I stopped being dragged, and just my positive buoyancy just took me straight up to the surface. And I just got this look of disappointment.
Yeah.
And he just asked me, "Did you lose your gun?" Yeah. So brand new gun, belt reels,
Oh man, it's an
all
expensive
gone.
dive.
I mean, I've learned a lesson.
Yeah. What was the lesson?
Make good decisions.
Yeah.
Don't shoot doggies on a real gun.
In fairness to you, you were trying to shoot a 12-kilo one, which is probably manageable for an experienced guy.
I mean, they're still bloody strong.
Yeah.
For a 12-kilo fish, a doggy is still incredibly strong.
Mm.
But funny enough, there's some local divers. They like the local guys. They go hunt on scuba, and this was the next year. We were diving the next season. We were diving the same spot, and the local guys came to say hi to us. And I must say, I recognized a belt. So apparently they were diving and they found my whole rig. So they found a decomposed doggy at the end of the line with a bent spear. They followed the line, they got my gun, and then they followed the line a bit more and they got my belt with all the weights and the reel and everything.
So you made a donation to the locals.
I mean, they needed a lot more than what I do.
Yeah.
But they were nice enough to give my gun back because they couldn't load it. So at least I got the gun back. But this was the end of my trip. This was actually end of last year, and I just decided to just do everything I'm not going to use. I just donated. I gave them all my suits, the spare suits I had, all the bits and pieces I wasn't going to use in Thailand. I gave everything to them.
Ah, very cool, man.
They were quite happy.
I bet you they were. That's a cool thing too. A lot of people look on spearfishing and travel as kind of like, I don't know, like we're some sort of big game hunters on safari or something, and we're going to shoot the last lion in some, weird little obscure African country. And I don't think it's that at all. Like trophy hunters are going to remote locations often to shoot very few fish, but maybe a couple of special ones. And it's an amazing trip. I think
we do shoot our daily fish for. I mean, we need to eat, so we shoot a lot of wahoo for dinner, a lot of jobfish. And the nice thing is, there's a lot of other fish, especially on the liveaboard trips. There's a lot of other fishermen. So we try to share with all the extra fish with the other fishing boats that's in the area.
Yeah.
Even if we're doing day trips and we shoot a little bit more than what we can eat, the fish we sell the fish, and the money we make from that goes to a village fund that goes to the village chief at the end of the year.
Oh, cool. That's a good way to maintain good relations too.
Yeah, so we try to keep everyone happy.
Yeah. It's a delicate little thing. It's good. So you grew up on the west coast of South Africa, chasing crayfish. Tell me a little bit about that. Is this where the passion started? Yeah,
that's where it started.
Yeah.
West coast of South Africa, a town called Saldanha Bay. Water's average like 12, 13 degrees. So we had a nice shop growing up. But yeah, growing up with that temperature water, like when you're still young, you're swimming in cold waters was not really that bad. But now I guess nowadays it's a cool thing to do also with these ice plunges and ice baths that people seem to. I don't get it.
I think people have unlocked something there with that. Obviously Wim Hof brought a lot of it on, but yeah, the cold water's developed an appeal all of its own. Plus that dude in Cape Town that did the My Octopus Teacher, I think he gave people, a vicarious sense of the appeal of that cold water diving, the kelp forests and,
So that's in False Bay. That's a little bit more on the Indian Ocean side. So that water is actually a little bit warmer.
Yes.
Sometimes of the year. So it can get up to like 17, 19 degrees on that side.
Yeah. So your side's more miserable.
Well, there's not much to measure in the cold water.
Is there fish? Is it, or is it just craze, really?
Bream.
Bream.
The Cape bream. I think you've mentioned it before. They call them the Hottentots.
Yeah.
That's
not a knife jaw, is it? That's its own thing. It's hot.
That's a different species. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you get the Cape knife jaw, and I think you also get the Natal knife jaws, which is two different species.
Okay.
The two main fish that people really hunt in the Cape is, especially up the west coast, we don't have much options, but it's the Cape or the Hottentot or the bream and the yellowtail kingfish.
Yeah, right.
But that will be more boat diving trips. So you go out like 5-something miles, find the birds, jump in, shoot something.
Okay. Tuna as well then?
The tuna is a little bit further out.
Okay.
So if you go, but you can go 40 miles out or something. You can go and chum and shoot some yellowfin,
Okay.
which I've never done in the Cape.
Okay.
But from what I've heard from a lot of people, they say that the cold water tuna is a lot stronger than the warmer water tunas.
Yeah. Wow.
I guess the colder water just gives them a little bit of extra energy.
I reckon cold water fish taste better too. Maybe it's the extra fat stores. Like, I'm not sure, but they just seem to taste like more alive.
Depends on the time of the year.
Okay.
I know when in the beginning of the season, when they start showing up, the fishermen say that the fish they're much faster. They're a little bit leaner because I think they've traveled quite far to get there. But once, like towards the end of the season, they get fatter and slower. So I guess they must be there to feed, and then they just like slow down and get more tasty.
Hopefully dumber too. And then that's like,
it helps.
That's when I can hold up a big fish for a change.
Just get yourself an Alamani with an 8-meter range, then you wouldn't struggle.
Well, I wouldn't mind talking to you a bit about those spear guns. So anyway, so you're there on the west coast of South Africa, Sodwana Bay, I think you said.
Saldanha Bay. Sodwana is actually on the other side of the country.
Okay. I'm getting my bays mixed up. Shows me how geographically ignorant I am. But you're chasing crayfish, and I think you said the first time you borrowed a friend's gun, you managed to shoot one of these Hottentot, a small brim. Yeah,
so it was quite normal at least for my friend groups to dive. Like a lot of our parents were crayfish divers. So that's pretty much where we learned. And I think my dad had a lot of patience with us when we were little, because he took us in season. He would take us every weekend to try and catch a crayfish. And I think I only caught my first one like 3 years, like in the third year of trying.
Wow.
I mean, I was like 10 or 12 or 10, 12 something.
That's pretty epic achievement. Do you think that's what makes it all like more sweeter? Like, it's how difficult it is?
I feel like that is what kind of makes my experience a little bit different. I started snorkeling when I was like 7. And building up on that, so doing a lot or spending a lot of time doing 1-meter dives, 2-meter, 3-meter dives, slowly progressing the way I dive and adapting, learning to equalize. I think that gave me a pretty big advantage of when I did decide to go deeper, like my base knowledge, not really knowing what I'm doing, but whatever I was doing was working.
Yeah.
I believe that made everything much easier once I decided to start doing the courses and going a little bit deeper. And especially diving in 12-degree waters, hunting. I mean, especially with the crayfish, you're not really diving for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's in a thick kelp. So on low tide, you crawl over to the kelp until you can find a little spot to get through it.
Yep.
And then you just use your arms and you just kind of spread open the kelp.
Yep.
Stick your head in the water, see what's going on. If it looks good, you just take a big breath and you pull yourself down on the kelp to the bottom. Look under a couple of holes. If there's nothing, you go back up, and then you have to kind of open all the kelp up above you.
Wow.
It can be quite scary sometimes. Like, there's been a few occasions where I couldn't get through, and I just had to stick my snorkel through the kelp so I can take a breath and then try again.
That'd be good for dealing with, because some people, and a lot of us don't realize it, but like people that are afraid of going underwater, because that's actually claustrophobia. But like adding in a heavy kelp forest is sort of like a level up on that.
Yeah, I think luckily I was able to do those things before we realized it was dangerous.
Yeah.
So it just changes the whole way you think about doing things while you are diving. So when something dangerous does happen, it's like you realize something's happening, but you have time to react, because it's probably not the first time you've done something stupid also.
Must make you grateful to your dad.
I mean, he put a lot of effort into it. So I do appreciate it, because if he didn't take us to the beach every weekend, I probably wouldn't be doing this. But through that, I started diving a little bit more with my friends to go to different areas. And I know at some point his father, my friend's father, was spearfishing, and then he started shooting some fish too. And he sent me, well, he always told me about these breams he shoots, and I mean, it meant nothing to me, to be honest. And then he sent me some photos one day, and apparently he shot the national record for the fish. And then he was really excited. So eventually the excitement or the idea of spearfishing got through to me. So we did go camping one weekend, and everyone went into a dive. They got their crayfish, and then while we were just relaxing, I looked at the guy and it's like, I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah, nice.
No one really showed me how it works. I just kind of like figured it out. Yeah, so it was like a little 90 centimeter rabbit tail gun. Got into the water. Back then, we were just using a 3mm surf suit, snorkeling fins, and just like the very basics to get the job done. And a 3mm is not enough for 12 degrees water, I can tell you that.
I betcha.
So yeah, I was just swimming around, saw a couple of fish, found a school eventually, and I just pointed and shot at it. So I did get the first time I pulled the trigger, I did shoot a fish. So I was quite happy with it. I do have a photo somewhere on Facebook.
Oh, I've got to get
I'm not sure if the fish was a legal size, but we can say it is.
Yeah. Isn't there a statute of limitations on how far back we're allowed to prosecute you for undersized fish?
I mean, your first fish is legal.
I have a lot of grace for people when they're starting, particularly kids. Like, I think, like shooting an undersized fish your first time is, in my eyes, it's fairly understandable. If you are doing it a year into it, we're going to have some problems and going to have a big discussion.
But then it's conscious choices.
Yes.
If it's your first time, you didn't know any better, you learned from it, and then everyone gets forgiven. But a year later, then
I might try and link that photo up today. If guys go to noobspearo.com/Nico, I'm going to link up everything we've chatted about today, including the International Spearfishing Academy with Dr. Jamal over in Qatar. We're going to link up Extreme Blue Water Spearfishing with Eric Allard, because it's another place where Nico's worked. But Nico's personal Instagram is Nico, Nico.Bleeker, Bleeker on Instagram. And his school is also on Instagram. It's Apex Freediving. It's also at apexfreediving.com. But if you go to noobspearo.com/Nico, Nico, I'll link up everything we chatted about today, so it's nice and convenient for people. Yeah, it'd be great to have some photos of those early fish, Nico. I reckon they're pretty cool. It's kind of what gets us all in somehow, And everyone's
we all need to start somewhere. And for a lot of my clients, surprisingly, their first fish is like a 14-kilo wahoo.
Yeah. And that's pretty impressive.
I feel like if you start that big, then what's the next step?
Yeah. I still haven't shot a wahoo, like I've shot a lot of fish, still have not got my first wahoo yet. And it's a big dream for me. One day I would really, really want it. But I don't mind having things in the future that are yet to be now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like having a list of stuff and things that I haven't done. Yeah. And I'm okay with it. Like, I don't need to have gone, I haven't shot a dogtooth tuna. There's so many fish that I haven't shot. And I like having a long list of them, because when they do gradually come, it's pretty cool.
I can recommend Zanzibar as a good spot to check off a few species.
Yeah, I had Eric on the show maybe a year and a half ago now. He's a very nice guy too. And I know David Ochoa pretty well as well. And he's another guy that's guided over there and done photography. Do you know David?
Yeah, I've done some trips with him.
Yeah. And David Dupav. Do you know David Dupav? Yeah,
he was the spearfishing guide when I started working as a freediving instructor with Zanzibar.
Yeah.
So I think he's somewhere in New Zealand at the moment.
No, he's in Australia now. He's just down the road from me. He's moved over here. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, him and his girlfriend E.T., they own and distribute Cobb Grills, which yeah. So he's right into that. Yeah, I got to get him back on the show. I did have him on a long time ago, but yeah, I'm hoping one day I do get to go over to Zanzibar and dive with Eric, because I've heard so much about it. I have a lot of, what do you call it, points of contact with people in and around the area. So it'd be pretty cool to go and do that one day. Yeah.
Let's plan one for next year.
It's hard to get them across the line with my wife these days with the amount of trips and stuff I'm running.
I mean,
So,
you can always bring her with. Just sell her a nice luxury yacht trip.
yeah,
She gets to lie on the beanbags, enjoy fresh fish.
It's more what do we do with 4 boys, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. But yeah, it's a good dream. One day it'll happen. I also saw on one of your posts you spent a bit of time with Ryan Myers.
I met him. When was this? 2016, I think.
Oh, it's a few years ago now.
He actually came to Zanzibar for a month or two.
Wow.
Him and his girlfriend, or now wife Sam.
Yeah.
They stayed with us for a little bit. Did a couple of charters. He did a liveaboard with Eric.
So,
So I know I met him very long time ago. It was just after they did the Greece World Championships.
oh wow. So he was diving like insane stuff too. Like, yeah.
No, he is a good diver.
Yeah.
But ask him if he's landed any wahoo in Zanzibar.
I haven't talked to him for a while, but he's a very popular guy these days. That's cool. I just wanted to ask about it because he's a very sort of well-known guy in and around the traps. So sort of growing up on the West Coast, you somehow got sucked into the idea of scuba diving, and then it somehow freediving took over, and then you come full circle to go spearfishing again.
Yeah, at that time, freediving wasn't very popular. I mean, there was one guy, I think, that was a freediving instructor, and it took him about 2 years to reply my email. So that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the only thing I could think of at that time to make a living off the ocean was to become a scuba instructor. And I was tired of the cold water, and I had a couple of friends talking about coming to Thailand to do this. And this is how I found out about Koh Tao.
Okay.
So I came here, become a scuba instructor, and every day when we go dive, we take a taxi, we go to the pier, and we would drive past the sign, freediving courses. Got my attention finally, so finished my scuba instructor course, and I would say as a little gift to myself for passing the course, I decided to do a freediving course.
Okay.
And I just haven't stopped. I've never taught a scuba course in my life. Since I started freediving, I focused purely on freediving. My parents did not know what I was doing at the time. They did send me some money to do more scuba diving courses to make myself more attractive to potential employers. But I spent all that money on freediving courses, and I think I might have mentioned one or two things too much, and I think my mom started noticing I'm doing something else, and she seemed excited about it. Yeah. I mean, normally a mom would worry if you tell her I'm holding my breath and swimming down to 30 meters.
Yeah.
But I think she must have heard the excitement in my voice, and she said, okay, we'll talk a little bit later about this. And she called me back like 4 a.m. We have about 5-6 hour time difference in South Africa, so
yeah,
she just called me whenever she wanted to, and that was 4 a.m. here. And she just said, I spoke to your dad, and you can keep freediving. I didn't ask, but thank you very much. Then I was able to do like a master course.
Yeah.
Where you basically you pay for long-term training.
Okay.
So I just spent the time showing up every day and diving, freedive. Our instructor was a guy called Akim Adhari.
Yeah. I know the guy.
He used to be quite a famous guy at some point. Very deep, like 100-meter freediver.
Yeah.
He's a very deep spearer. He regularly, when he was living in Bali, he was shooting GTs and fish at 40 plus meters with a pretty decent bottom time. So he was actually my instructor for all my courses until I became instructor.
Okay.
And then I started working for the school. He had the school on Koh Tao first. So I started working for his school, and then it got eventually sold to other companies and so on.
Okay.
So he was like one of my main trainers where I learned from. When it comes to the spearfishing stuff, it's just I don't ask too many questions, but I like to look at what people do. and then I will try to copy that and see how it works, and then I'll just kind of like adapt it to my way of doing things.
Can you give me an example?
Gun position. Some people like to hold the gun out in front of them when they're diving. Some people, like I mentioned earlier, like to hold the gun mid-barrel. So I've had clients and looking at other guides also the way they hold their guns, and then I would try different things and see what works the best for me. So the best way I like to do it now is holding onto the barrel, and then push my arms down straight down when I do the duck dive. And after I've straightened out, I would bring the gun back to my side. So the shaft of the gun would stick out just past my head.
Yeah.
And once you get used to that, it's actually a really comfortable position.
Okay.
Especially for moving around. The smaller you are, the easier it is to adjust your position or adjust the direction that you are going in.
Yeah, okay. I've seen that. Like, it's like a soldier carries a rifle. It's like they hold the butt in their left or right hand, and the firearm sort of comes up the inside of their shoulder. And then some guys, like, when they hit the bottom, they sort of let the gun just roll forward naturally, and then they switch it to their shooting hand. Did you do something like that, or?
Exactly like that, yes.
And when you hit the bottom, do you sort of let the gun fall forward into a normal shooting position, or?
Normally, I level out before I don't go straight to the bottom and then I level out. I would depending on what I'm doing, like a couple of meters before the bottom, I would I'd level out, and then like pretty much like slowly like a leaf, I would slowly fall down to the bottom and find my spot. Depending on what fish we are is in the area. Like if it's like a job fish or something, they like to look at you. So you don't have to go straight for a hole and try and hide, because they like to look at what you're doing, and as long as you don't stare at him, he will swim close enough. But if it's like for these boa snappers, you want to swim down, at least for the boas and for the mangroves.
Yeah.
They look at you as you're swimming down, and they look at you when you swim behind the rock. But as soon as they can't see you anymore, they start looking. It's like, where'd he go?
Yeah.
And they would actually swim right up to you. So I don't go straight. It depends what I'm doing. Either straight to my hiding spot, or I just kind of like level out and I just slowly fall to the bottom.
Sometimes with weather and commitments, it's a long time between drinks in your spearfishing journey. If you want a dry training program that can keep you in some kind of shape for spearfishing, check out Ted Hardy's 28-day freediving transformation at noobspearo.com/Ted. That's noobspearo.com/Ted. Now, the 28-day freediving transformation is just a practical dry training plan that Ted Hardy will walk you through, and it will help you get results even if you can't get wet at the moment. Check it out at noobspearo.com/Ted. Massive thanks to today's sponsor, Dog and Gun Coffee. It's bloody good coffee, ready for adventure. They use specialty grade beans and roasted fresh in Brisbane by a small Aussie team. Their most popular product, and this is one that I love myself, are the preloaded drip filters, which allow you to have cafe quality coffee anywhere. And I use them out on my Stratty spearfishing adventures. It is legit cafe quality coffee that you can make with simple boiling water. Add your own milk and sugar. Well, that's what I do anyway. Their owners, Sean and Rach, are keen hunters in and out of the water and want to encourage more people to get outdoors. That's pretty much the vision of Dog and Gun Coffee. Check it out at dogandguncoffee.com.au. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10%. Can't get better than that. Go to dogandguncoffee.com.au. Again, hey, I like the Sandbar Dark Roast as well. Check that out at Dog and Gun Coffee. Nico, we're running out of time. I did want to chat with you in our Veterans Vault about freediving versus spearfishing, because now you're running a freediving place called Apex Freediving in Koh Tao. You teach freediving non-stop, but you've been a spearfishing guide. You are a Spearo and you are a freediver. You've talked a bit about some of the differences and similarities in the interview, but when you think about them broadly or you describe it for others, how do you do that?
Describing the similarities, it's pretty much the same. It's exactly the same thing. We diving and holding our breath. The main difference between the two, though, is the focus. So I've mentioned before, the focus while freediving is purely how you are feeling and how the equalization is working, how comfortable you are. Because freediving, you're just diving down a line basically and back up. But for spearfishing, the focus is the target. Like how deep you're going to dive and what are you going to see, or what are you hunting for? So I think that the most important part is, if you want to get better at spearfishing, yes, you do need to spend more time in the water spearfishing. That's the easiest way to get better at what you're doing. But also, if you look at the freediving side, is you need to train your freediving skills to a point where you don't need to think about what you are doing. If you need to do, just relaxation. You don't want to think about anything else. You just want to relax, breathe. But while hunting, you're still going to keep your eyes open and look what's going on around you. So you want to be able to do that at the same time as trying and relaxing your whole body. A simple thing like the duck dive. You want to practice your duck dive to a point where you don't need to think about what you're going to do. You're just going to do it. Because if that fish shows up, or whatever's going to happen at that moment, if you do that duck dive, you don't want to think, and you just want to go straight and do it as efficiently as you can. And then the body positioning, like the way you are swimming down, you don't want to think about, you don't want to like actively try and keep yourself straight. It should be a
automatic,
like muscle memory.
Yeah. There's that old saying, and I keep wanting to say it with you. It's like we don't rise to the level of our expectation; we fall to the level of our training. So, but what I'm kind of getting from you is this idea of repetition and working on techniques until they become sort of second nature. For a lot of Spearos, they never intentionally train anything other than going spearfishing all the time. And sometimes, do you think you need to consciously train different skills or techniques so that you can improve in general?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
When it comes to the body awareness, someone who has very little body awareness will need a lot more training to make sure that they stay in the right positions and do the skills in the right way. Someone that is aware of what they're doing, they can much easier adapt their technique to fit to what they are doing.
Okay, cool. So it's sort of, so like if someone was listening to this and they were like, okay, what are my takeaways for this? Would you say like it kind of depends on who you are and what you're good at and what you're not good at? And so do you recommend that people have an understanding of what they're good at and then what they're not good at, and then they try and work on some of the things that they're maybe not as good at?
Well, 100%, but I would recommend actually attending a proper, it doesn't have to be a spearfishing course or like a freediving course, but at least attend a beginner freediving course. Because the whole idea about the freediving course is understanding how everything works. So the basics of why we breathe, how do we breathe, what happens when we don't breathe, and all the feelings associated when we're not breathing. These are the scary things that people don't understand when they start diving. Like, this is what scares them and might be the reason why they don't want to freedive or go deeper. So these basics is going to give you the information that will naturally make you feel a lot calmer, just because you know what's going on. Like a contraction now, it doesn't mean you're completely out of oxygen. It just means it's about time to, you still have time to go back up and breathe. It doesn't mean you're going to be completely out of oxygen and now you need to rush to the surface. And part of it is having the instructor's job is actually to stand back and look at what the student does. If you're just going to dive up and down a line by yourself with a couple of friends, they're just going to tell you that looks great, or getting high fives because you're reaching the end of the line. But the instructor's job is there to look at how you are doing these skills and giving you the tips and showing you the tricks on how to, not just telling you don't bend your knees when you're diving, but they actually give you the tips on how to do that, which I think is a quite important part. Like, I can tell you a million different things that you shouldn't do, but if you don't know how to fix it,
yes,
it means nothing.
Yeah, sometimes too, like when you start teaching people, it's almost like if you didn't have that problem yourself, you need to work out what they're doing and then what the root cause is and then teach them in and around it. For example, for me, like, I never really thought about equalizing my mask. So I never had those horrible bloodshot eyes from, like not equalizing my mask. But then when, I don't know what it is, maybe 1 in 10 students don't seem to automatically equalize their mask space. So you need to
And sometimes it's a good and a bad reason why they don't do it.
Yeah.
It means that the equalization is so good, or the technique for equalizing is so good that they don't leak any air out of their nose.
Yeah.
Or they're just pinching their nose the whole time, so they can't exhale any air. But a lot of people, they're so wasteful with the air when they equalize, they don't realize they're automatically equalizing the mask.
Yeah. So, okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that's good. I never even thought about that. Yeah, nice. Yes, but it's nice to be able to diagnose it and then to be able to give them a workaround so that they don't do the same things.
It's the main thing that we do in our instructor courses. So when you come to an instructor course, I'm not going to teach you to be a better diver, because you should be good enough. You should be good enough to do all the performance requirements before. But when you come to an instructor course, we try and teach you how to spot the problems and actually how to fix it. Like I said, not just telling the person to keep your head down, but explain to them actually why, and give them exercises they can do to keep the head down, or how to bend the knees in the best possible way to get the best positioning.
Nice. So just to sort of sum up that bit, I think you're saying most Spearos should do some form of formal training so that they understand what's going on in their body and how our bodies work when we go spearfishing.
Exactly. And that how to spot someone that is struggling with hypoxia, and someone that is having a loss of motor control or who has had a blackout, and how to rescue them properly. So that is all part of the learning curve.
Nice. I like it. Well, if guys want to do a course with you, they can go to apexfreediving.com. Check that out. Nico runs courses over there in Koh Tao. I can't imagine a more gentle and idyllic location to do it, Nico. Have you got access to much depth there as well?
Maximum depth we can get is about 45 meters on a high tide.
But that's straight off the beach?
No, we have to take a boat, but it's not very. It's like 10 minutes by boat.
Yeah. Cool. So you can run every level course there, though. You can run.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Cool.
The nice thing about Koh Tao is it's a perfect place for a long-term student. A lot of people get 60 days visas, which can be extended by another 30 days. So you get 3 months. And Koh Tao is quite nice because it's got a good party scene. It's got nature. It's got the sea. So you have a little bit of everything that can keep you quite busy for 3 months.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool.
It's quite a fun place to live.
You've sold the destination as much as the courses, that's for sure, Nico. Mate, awesome. I've had a really good time chatting with you. I feel like we could keep going. I did want to wrap up our Veterans Vault section. I did want to say, like, as my last question for that section, what else, like, just for your average sort of Spearo punter, what is one thing, either training, mindset, technique, etc., from freediving that you feel like most Spearos would really benefit from?
Use the right equipment for the job.
Okay. So you're saying don't use the Svera freediving mask for spearfishing?
That is a very good one. Yeah, no, it's not the best mask.
No, not for spearfishing.
But, I mean, it's a great freediving mask, but at the distortion and everything, it just does not work.
Yeah.
But yeah, use the right equipment for the right job. If you're going to hunt bigger fish, use the right equipment to hunt and shoot a bigger fish. I mean, wetsuits, the amount of weights, the fins you are using, all these little things make a difference at the end of the day. And please, if you are going to spend a lot of money on a trip, test your equipment. You'll be surprised how many of my clients shows up on a liveaboard with brand new guns still in their packaging from the manufacturer.
Oh, wow.
Never used it before. And then they get upset that they're missing fish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so nice when you can know where a gun's going to shoot before you jump in the water. Some of the opportunities that you get on those trips too, you're not going to get them again. So you want to be as prepared as you can be. I hear what you're saying.
For a lot of the guys, they come to us for day trips first. This is at least what I would always recommend. Come to Zanzibar, do a couple of day trips, get the feel of the place, and on your next trip, do a liveaboard. I wouldn't go going straight on a liveaboard is not for everyone unless they've done liveaboards in other places before. But if you're quite new to it, spend a couple of days doing the day trips, get used to the climate, the temperatures, the just the water and the fish, everything, before you start doing spending a lot of money on these bigger trips. Because if you're not ready, you're going to waste your time.
Yeah, right. Guys, if you are interested in those Zanzibar trips that he's talking about, go and check out Extreme Blue Water Spearfishing. Nico, let's head on out with Spearo Q&A. 3 faster-paced questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
What is your dream spearfishing destination? Where would you most like to go in the world that you haven't been to already?
Ooh, I'm going to be honest. I would go back to Zanzibar because I feel like there's a lot of fish that's been taunting me that I haven't shot yet.
Okay.
So I think Zanzibar, I would just go straight back. I mean, Bali's a pretty good option too.
All right. Cool.
Or at least Indonesia.
Who is your favorite person to go spearfishing with and why?
Favorite person, one of the previous guys, one of the previous guides from Extreme Blue Water in Zanzibar. His name's Clinton. I've actually learned quite a bit from him.
Okay.
Just really good dive buddy. We understand each other quite well. So minimum communication. We just kind of know which other was doing.
Nice.
Except for the one time when I was aiming for a wahoo and he shot it. But he will deny it until the end.
Is he South African as well?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right, cool. Last question, Nico. Could you describe what the spearfishing experience means to you in one sentence?
That's a bit difficult. I mean, I just love the absolute freedom of what you are doing while spearfishing. The choice of which one you want, which one to pull the trigger on, and which one just to look at and wave and say, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Something different too. Guys, Nico Bleeker, go and check him out on Instagram. His personal Instagram is Nico, NICO.BLEEKER. He's also Apex Freediving on Instagram or on the web as well. Again, if you go to noobspearo.com/Nico, NICO, I'll link up a whole bunch of stuff that we chatted about today, including Extreme Blue Water and the Qatari Spearfishing School. And, mate, Nico, you did not disappoint. I'm so stoked Evan introduced us. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, man. I wish you every success with your freediving school in Koh Tao. It sounds like a pretty amazing place you got going there.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed Nico and hearing all about sort of his journey into spearing. I really loved hearing about Bohar snapper. It's a species that intrigues me. And cool to hear about sort of his mindset with regards to what we can borrow from freediving and bring over spearing and what is and isn't applicable, like very related and highly interrelated. And if you are interested in doing a more advanced freediving course, something like that, I think Nico is your man. Go check him out, Apex Freediving, running out of Koh Tao, Thailand. That'd be a pretty cool trip. Just head over for a week, get some depth adaptation and dial in on some of your freediving skills. Sounds like a pretty cool way to do it to me. If you go to noobspearo.com/Nico, NICO, you can check out any of the links mentioned in today's podcast. As usual, legends, though, massive thank you for you to sharing the podcast with your mates, leaving voice messages at noobspearo.com, becoming a patron, going that next step like we got in the shout-outs at the start of the potty. Yeah, go to patreon.com/noobspearo and keep putting fuel in the Noob Spearo outboard. It's much appreciated. Also, guys, I did mention the Sail and Spear Adventures for 2025, departing in August 2025. So if you want to get organised nice and early, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested and put your name in there. You'll be on the shortlist to get on one of these awesome trips. They are the backpackers spearfishing paradise, I got to tell you. So cool being surrounded by a bunch of really awesome, fun, friendly, and like-minded people. So hey, that's it for me. In 2 weeks, come back for the Chase and Gather Life. This is the Chase and Gather boys. They live in New Zealand, but it's made up of South Africans and Kiwis. Check out their YouTube channel. And in 2 weeks, you'll hear from Michael, Rudy, and Danny, who join me for a cracker potty. So the Chase and Gather Life in 2 weeks. See you then, guys. Shrek over and out. Arriving on day one of the spearfishing trip of a lifetime and feeling underdone, unfit, and out of breath is incredibly underwhelming. Well, I've got a great solution for you today. Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready and take part in a 50-day preparation program to get you into shape to make the most of a trip of a lifetime. This is a 50-day journey designed to get you in great shape to make the most of this trip. I consulted a bunch of legends to help me put together this program, including Adam Stern, Australian freediving legend, Jared Rosenberg from Earth and Ocean Fit, and Dr. Jaap Verbaas, author of Longer and Deeper, as well as a bunch of others to help me put together a 50-day program that will get you results. And I know it works. We've put a bunch of groups through this now, and people have seen huge improvements and landed on a charter or a trip and actually been able to tap into some of their best spearfishing fitness. Check it out at noobspearo.com/spear-ready. Jump in a 50-day program to make the most. If you are 2 months out from that trip of a lifetime, let me encourage you, get spear ready. Go to noobspearo.com/spear-ready. Are you US based, looking for freediving, spearfishing gear? Neptonics is the best. Their online website, so easy to use. If you've got any questions, Jerry and the team answer questions via phone, email. Anyway, they've got an easy contact form on the site. These guys are absolute legends, and if they sell it, they believe in it, they back it, they use it themselves. It's tough gear that works. Visit neptonics.com. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10% on any order at neptonics.com. That's right, use the code NOOB10, N-O-O-B 10 on your next order. Save 10% at neptonics.com. Today's Noob Spearo podcast is brought to you in partnership with Adreno. Live it, breathe it with the world's largest dive store. Huge range of equipment, always growing, always changing. They are the world's largest dive store. They are available just about everywhere. They have hassle-free returns, massive range of equipment, price match guarantee, and you can check them out online. You can even use the code NoobSpearo to save $20 on every purchase over $200 at adreno.com.au. Check them out. Boom!